Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sportsbook Review's coverage of the Premier League. I'm your host, Martin Green. I have alongside me the very talented Matt Lawrence. We're supposed to have George, but he's had a power cut in the part of England in which he lives. He was going to make his triumphant return, but we're Georgeless, I'm afraid. I'll be able to read his picks out at the end of the show, but for now, you've just got me and Matt. Matt, how are you doing? Big sort of story, I guess, developing in the Premier League is the Brazilian FA refusing to, invoking a FIFA clause whereby a lot of players can't play this weekend. What have your thoughts been to this? How have you reacted to it?
Well, coming off an international break is always difficult, but this just throws an extra wrench into it. It's going to be very odd to not see some of those players out there and really to see what transpires through all this. I know the lawyers are going to be very busy with this one. So it's an interesting situation. Always coming off the break is difficult. And so you'll see that I don't have as many plays this week as I normally would, but that doesn't mean that I won't get involved maybe, when the lineups come out, but there's just so many question marks right now as we talk on a Friday.
Indeed, there are. I mean, I think that Liverpool are obviously going to miss Alisson and Chelsea to a certain extent, Thiago Silva. I think Man City are probably the worst off without Ederson and Gabriel Jesus because Zach Steffen's got COVID, hasn't he? So they could be turning to third-choice goalkeeper Scott Carson, who's only played one game for the club, I think. So not looking great for them. I hear there's a slim chance that they may be able to work things out and actually get the players to play, but we shall see. We're going to press on with basically the information that we've got right now. We'll start analysing the games in just a minute, but first it's your daily reminder to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. After this video, you can head over to sportsbookreview.com, read lots of picks, lots of analysis, lots of insight, sportsbook reviews, learn more about bonuses, read our free betting calculators, all sorts of information there. It's a great site. But also there's our Pick 6 contest, but the NFL season's underway now, so hope you've all taken part in that. And we'll crack on. The very first game is Crystal Palace versus Tottenham. This is a London derby. Tottenham are in very good form, haven't they? Made a flying start to the season under Nuno Espirito Santo, sitting top of the league, 9 points clear of their struggling North London rivals. Crystal Palace, poor start, but bounced back with a good 2-2 draw last time out. What are your thoughts on this one, Matt? Do you think there's any chance that Crystal Palace could nick a result?
Well, I don't know. This one is a tricky one. When you're looking just at the head-to-heads, Tottenham have had really no problems with Palace over the last 5 times they've met. They've collected 11 points in those 5 matches. The goal differential's 12-4 in those matches. So they've been able to do well. So you would like to think that they can get a result here at Selhurst and grab the full 3 points. They've just squeaked by in the first 3 matches, 1-0 victories, and that's what I would expect to see from a Nuno Espirito Santo side, really, where it's going to be controlled, counter, and just like he had at Wolves with maybe a few better players here on this side, but Son being injured on international duty really does keep me off of this one until the lineups come out. But yeah, I think this is a complete pass. I don't think I'll be involved in this match at all.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pass this one too, I'm afraid. The odds on Tottenham just aren't good enough to make it worthwhile for me after what we saw with Crystal Palace last time out. It showed a lot more character than I think a lot of people would have expected. It's going to take a while for them to gel into an effective unit under Patrick Vieira. But they've got some interesting young players that have joined the club, and I think they've got a chance of staying up, But we'll move on from the worst team in North London, and we'll move on to the best team in North London. That is the mighty Arsenal. They're coming up against a very, very talented Norwich team. So Arsenal have lost their first 3 games of the season. They sit bottom of the league. They haven't scored a single goal. But you just remember this, everyone. This is the turning point in the season. We'll look back. This is when Arsenal began their 35-game winning streak. They cruised to the title, and nobody could stop them. And it all began with a 7-0 win, perhaps, against Norwich. Do you think they're going to... How heavy is this scoreline going to be in Arsenal's favour, Matt?
Well, I'm looking to hear from you, Martin, a little bit. This is your time, I think, to handicap this one, too. I know that you've switched the presenter role, but I still miss the handicap Martin Green.
Okay, well, I mean, this is a must-win game for Arsenal. They're coming up against a Norwich side that so far look like the worst of the promoted teams. They've been absolutely slaughtered in their games thus far. Both of these teams languishing in the relegation zone right now. It's just an absolute must-win game. As soon as Arsenal lost to Brentford in that opener, it was obvious that they were going to lose to Chelsea and Man City. So we kind of knew they were going to be on 0 points from 3 games. But if Arteta loses a home match against Norwich, he has to go. He's got you. That is just a sackable offence. That would be 0 points from 4 games. You're in a crisis. Whereas a victory, they can start to turn a corner, lift a bit of dark cloud that's hanging over the Emirates right now, and they've really just got to get the job done. I think the fans are going to turn up expecting a win. They'll get on the team's backs quite quickly if things don't go well in the first half. But you really would expect that Arsenal should just have too much firepower for Norwich in this game. Norwich have already conceded 10 goals in 3 matches. I know Arsenal have 2, but a lot of that was down to that ridiculous performance against Man City after Xhaka got sent off. I think Norwich will grow into the season, but they've made some interesting signings. But once again, they've brought in a lot of new faces, and they're going to take a while to form an effective unit. So this is just an open goal for Arsenal. Home game against the newly promoted club after a 2-week international break. Arsenal don't actually have that many international players, sadly, anymore either. So not too many of their squad have actually been away. They should be fresh, raring to go. I think they get the job done. I think there's going to be at least 2 goals in the match. So I'm going to go for Arsenal and over 1.5 goals. Playing it cautious, I do think we're going to go on a 35-game winning streak. But, Rome wasn't built in a day. You have to start somewhere and then keep it going. Keep it going. Do you like that? Would you back that?
I would. I'm just looking at Norwich's last 7, even dating back to the championship, have seen over 2.5 goals. So, and then when you look at this match 2 seasons ago at the Emirates, Arsenal cleaned up 4-0 against Norwich. So, you didn't even get to mention Takahiro Tumayoso, I think is how you pronounce it. He looks quality to me, Martin. I was watching some film on him. You've been needing a right fullback for now, it seems like a couple of years. I don't think ever since Bellerin had the knee issues, I think it's been a big hole to fill. And so I think that he might really fill it finally. I think that position, obviously Arteta really wanted to get that locked down, kind of just waiting on a work permit there. And Ben White will come back in. Looks like the front 3 will be all guns blazing. Smith Rowe, Saka, Aubameyang. So, yeah, I think that Arsenal this should be a get right spot for them at home, coming off the international break. Just don't think about the first 3 matches. It's a new season right now, and I think that they do grab all 3 points here.
Exactly. Thanks, Matt. Me too. Brown Magic is going win to 0, but Hassan thinks that Norwich will score. Cannon Fodder's going for the Martin Classic. Arsenal and under 4.5 goals. Yeah, I like that. I can see it hopefully 2-0 win for Arsenal, 2-1, 3-1, something like that would suit me. Aurier coming to Arsenal too. Not so sure about whether I want him there, but we shall see. We shall see. I think we've got a few options now in that right back role. I think our new guy is going to be a massive upgrade on Callum Chambers, who just sadly good on the ball but lacks the pace to play in the Premier League, unfortunately. And Cannon Fodder says that Matt's been practicing his Norwich pronunciation. Well done, Matt. I think you've smashed it.
There we go.
Okay, we're moving on to Brentford versus Brighton. Now, this is going to be an extremely interesting game because the two owners of these clubs know each other very, very well. Tony Bloom, who owns Brighton, took Matthew Benham, the Brentford owner, under his wing when they operated a very profitable gambling business. They kind of had a bit of a falling out. They went their separate ways. Tony Bloom took Brighton into the Premier League, and Matthew Benham has followed a Moneyball approach, and he's got Brentford in the Premier League. So they're playing one another first time. I think there's going to be a lot of bragging rights up for grabs here. Neither owner is going to want to lose this one. So I'm sure the message will come from up high to the two managers that you've got to go out and get a result in this game. Could they cancel one another out? I'm not sure. They do look quite evenly matched. Both teams have played pretty well in the opening weeks of the season. How do you see this one unfolding, Matt?
Difficult one, extremely difficult one to figure out. We know Brighton with some of their XG woes in the past. They struggle to put the ball in the net. Brentford are normally rock solid at home. They haven't been beat there. When you look back towards the championship last season, they haven't been beat in 12 consecutive matches at home. So this is a really tough one. I think that this is something to maybe look and get involved in play if you're watching this one. Because right now, to me, I would like to go with Brighton just because I know that their offense might be a tad bit stronger here. But I don't want to go against Brentford at home. It's just as simple as that. The crowd's going to be rocking. It's going to be a tough place to go. And something just tells me they're going to keep it tight. And this game probably lands under 2.5. But this was one of the easier passes for me.
When I was looking at all the games, I immediately wrote this one off and passed it. But then after a while, I just came back and I just went for Brighton draw no bet. I can get really good odds on Brighton draw no bet. I think it's about 1.91, 10 to 11, minus 110, wherever you are in the world. And I just thought that just did look like a good price. I know that Brentford have impressed in the opening weeks of the season, but I'm just waiting for that sort of momentum that the newly promoted team carries up to the Premier League starts to sort of wear off a bit. I think Brighton are more of a wily sort of Premier League team. And I just think perhaps the presence of Bissouma in the midfield, if he starts, could swing this one in Brighton's favour. I don't see them losing the game, to be honest. I think worst case scenario, they get a draw. And I get my money back, which is what a couple of people in the chat are saying as well. Icelandic name, Sigurdsson. Not sure. Let us know how to pronounce your first name there. But he's also going for Brighton draw no bet. A lot of people saying it's going to be a tight game. Yeah, everyone's sort of thinking perhaps a draw, but slightly leaning towards Brighton. I am too. Okay, next game. Leicester versus Manchester City. Ooh, big game, big game. Almost a year to the date that Leicester just turned up at the Etihad and spanked Man City 5-2, was it? Remember Vardy scoring a hat-trick in that game? I think he's got 8 goals in 5 years against Man City, which means he scored more than any other player against the Pep Guardiola team in history. More than Ronaldo, more than anyone. Jamie Vardy, yeah, can't write him off. Like we said, Matt, difficult game because is Ederson going to play? Probably not. Gabriel, he's probably not going to play. They're lacking a striker. But then they've got so many good attacking midfielders that they could run rings around Leicester. Obviously, it finished 1-0 to Leicester in the Community Shield at the start of the season. Man City won their previous game 2-0. Not much head-to-head data. Do you think just pass this one?
I think so. I think this is a pass. I think that Leicester do generally have a pretty good blueprint, though, on how to play Man City. They know how they have all this pace up front, and they know how to utilize it. Vardy, like what you mentioned, that's an amazing stat that he's scored the most goals against Guardiola. When you think about all of the legends that he's gone up against, it's Jamie Vardy. But he's kind of a legend in his own right. Exactly. Jamie Vardy is somewhat of a legend in his own right. And so this one is a complete swerve for me until I see some lineups. It's as simple as that. I want to see what Man City are going to do. I don't think that Jesus miss is huge. I don't think that he would have started anyways. That's it seems like Guardiola really prefers the false nine with a Foden or a De Bruyne more so in that role than Jesus. But Ederson will be a miss, and it looks like Zach Steffen's going to miss, so they're going to go with a third choice keeper. So yeah, this one is really easy for me to pass. But if Leicester kind of bring that same MO that they did in the Community Shield, I don't know why they couldn't do it here again, or at least scrape a point. So I mean, a draw doesn't look too bad here, really. Man City's still early season form, as we know. They've just getting some players back in. It looks like Foden and De Bruyne are going to be back. So yeah, this is just a complete pass for me until I see some lineups.
Yeah, I passed this game as well for my official picks. I've since gone back and looked at it, and I think both teams to score could be interesting in this one. We got Carson. I know he's not a bad keeper. He played for England once, but he's very much out of practice. I think he played in the Newcastle game last season, but he's barely played for Man City. And Leicester have got a lot of players that aren't afraid to shoot from distance. Vardy, Tielemans. James Maddison loves pinging him in from a distance, so he could have quite a torrid afternoon. I know Man City will probably dominate possession, but Leicester are the sort of team that can catch him on the counter-attack. But I do think that Leicester will just have so much quality. Sorry, Man City will. I think they'll probably do a little not Foden. I think maybe Sterling, Ferran Torres, and Jack Grealish might come as a front three. Foden and De Bruyne are just getting back from injury, so not sure if they'll play a part or if they'll come off the bench. But they've got so many good attacking midfielders that I think they can get on the score sheet too. So I'd be looking at both teams to score. Maybe you could team up a Man City draw double chance with both teams to score. Probably get better than even money on that. That might be the way I would play it. But yeah, I've got no official picks for this show on that one. Okay. I know Arsenal-Norwich is a massive game, obviously, but the real big one of the weekend has to be Manchester United versus Newcastle United. Show my age. I remember when these two were battling it out for the title in the mid-1990s, and Sir Alex Ferguson mind games won the day over Kevin Keegan, caused him to have a bit of a meltdown. Both kind of gone in opposite directions, unfortunately, since then. It's the return of Cristiano Ronaldo. Think he's going to start, Matt?
I think so. I mean, he left Portugal a little bit early. He didn't play in the last international World Cup qualifier for Portugal. So yeah, I mean, he's fit, he's ready. This is their home match, because then I think that they go on the road in the next two. So I think they've got to start him here.
Yeah. I mean, if you're signing Cristiano Ronaldo on the wages that you're paying him, you can't be leaving him on the bench. You really, can you? I mean, he's of a certain age now. You just need to utilise him whenever he's available. He's obviously not the sort of whirlwind of destruction that Man United fans will remember. He left the club in 2009 now, so a lot has changed, but he's really adapted his game to just become the most dangerous, predatory in-the-box striker in the world, I would say, which he showed in that Portugal game against Ireland with those two bullet headers, became the all-time leading international goal scorer. I could see him, unfortunately for Cavani, just taking Cavani's place in the team. Shift Mason Greenwood out to the right, then you've got Jadon Sancho on the left, Bruno Fernandes pulling the strings behind them. That is a formidable attacking quartet. I could see them covering I'd be inclined to give them like a -1.5, -1.75 sort of Asian handicap here. Newcastle missing both their goalkeepers, Dubravka and Darlow, so third choice keeper for them. A lot of players out, it's just not looking like a good game for them. Have you got anything on this, Matt? Are you looking at any ways of getting value?
So I didn't have anything official for this one, but this one is the one that is warming up to me more and more, that I think that I'm going to play probably today. United, when you look at them, they've beat Newcastle 6 straight matches. They've covered the handicap of 1.5 and 4 out of the 6. And Old Trafford is just going to be buzzing.
Yeah.
It's going to be ridiculous what goes on here. And like you mentioned, Newcastle, Dubravka's out. I mean, they've got some issues here. And this, like you mentioned with the quartet, it's extremely strong. I think that there's so many ways to play this, and that's maybe why I was hesitant to make it official, because when you look at United to score in both halves, that doesn't look too bad. United minus 1.5. It's even one of those, I think it's written in the stars that Ronaldo at least scores from a penalty, scores here. If you have one of those combos and you get like an odds boost here in the States, like Ronaldo to score and United to win, I mean, it's not a fantastic price. They're pricing Ronaldo out at like 1.4, 1.45 to score.
I thought I'll definitely have a bit of Ronaldo to score. I thought it would be like minus 133 or something like that. 1.4. Oh,
I know. They're all over it here. And to me, I think that he's more than fine to be included in a parlay then, maybe with any other bet, really. It doesn't have to be an anytime goal score or anything. I think you've got to have Ronaldo at some point on your card this weekend to score whatever it may be, because I think that he's going to light Old Trafford up once more. This is the perfect first match for him to get right, get settled in. I think United roll them over. This smells like a 4-0, 5-0. Everybody at Old Trafford just singing.
Yeah, I'm totally happy to give Man United a minus 1.5 handicap in this game. I think they win it by 2 clear goals at least. Newcastle just all over the place, aren't they? They only signed Joe Willock in the summer, and they had him on loan last season. So it's basically the same team, ravaged with injuries, lacking confidence. Man United's front four is just incredible. And if you want an impact substitute in the second half, Edinson Cavani can come off the bench. That's just ridiculous. And I've also got a sneaking suspicion that with all the attention on Ronaldo, Mason Greenwood's going to score. He's such a good finisher. I don't think Ronaldo's going to get all their goals. I've got like plus 140 on Greenwood to score, which I think looks like a very tempting price. So
absolutely. I don't think the plus 140s with Greenwood are going to last for very much longer. I think that you'll see in the next 5-10 years he's going to be at odds on or right around plus 100. Like he's the complete finisher.
Yeah, he is dangerous. I think he could maybe replace Kane in the England team at this rate. He's a very dangerous striker. Okay, we're moving on. Southampton versus West Ham United. Interesting game. I mean, we all thought West Ham were going to get the job done against Saints last time out. Against Crystal Palace last time out. Ended up in a draw, but they still have made an amazing start to the season. Joint top scorers along with Man City with 10 goals scored in just 3 games. Conceded 5, which isn't great, but looking amazing going forwards, aren't they? Antonio had a bit of a weird one. He played in Jamaica's home game, but didn't play in their away games due to COVID restrictions and stuff. So I imagine he'll be reasonably fresh for this one. I think West Ham can go there and at least get a draw against Southampton, who I'm a bit unimpressed by. What do you think, Matt?
I couldn't agree more. Hopefully the Jamaica FA doesn't step in on this one and knock Antonio out of this match. The ridiculousness there. West Ham, they've had a really good track record against Southampton. That's what I was really looking at. They have not been beat against the Saints in the last 7. They thrashed them last season, and I'm going to forgive them for the wobble against Crystal Palace. I thought that I should have collected the full win there. That did hurt a bit. Or I actually had the -1, so I was just looking for a push there. I'm surprised I didn't get that. But yeah, just some costly defensive errors. I'm really excited for when West Ham get Kurt Zouma in the lineup, and it could be this one. I think that he played a little bit for France. If he is ready to go here, he just slots right in for Dawson. And Dawson is, to me, he's not really a Premier League defender. He's someone that you can trust on the bench, but starting week in and week out, it would be a major cause for concern for West Ham and would make them almost single-handedly an overs team instead of just backing them to win. So I would I would consider putting 2 units on this match if Kurt Zouma started. Because I do really like it. They're firing on all cylinders. Fornals gets a Spain call up. Everybody's just clicking right now. And Southampton, we know some of their woes when you look at the board from the very top. It's not looking that great. They just had to struggle just to get a point against Newcastle in the last match. They came out firing, but they struggled to find the back of the net, and then they were chasing the game. It got completely flipped in the second half. West Ham should be too strong here. West Ham draw no bet is my favorite bet and my best bet of the week.
Nice. Yeah, me too. I'm also liking West Ham draw no bet. Kurt Zuma's just a great signing for them. Moyes specialises in this sort of thing. He always did it for Everton. He would take players that were not quite elite, but very, very good, that would improve the team on a constant basis, which is what he got from Lingard last season. He's getting Kurt Zuma this time around. Hassan in the chat is saying that Zuma won't play due to personal reasons. That's a shame, but I don't think he'll be missed too tremendously against Southampton. I think they've got bigger games upcoming where they'll need his talents. I think they win the midfield battle in this one. You know, Rice, Soucek should get the job done. I think they go and get at least a point, but I think they can lead the South Coast with all three. Great. Glad we are singing from the same hymn sheet on that one. We're going to move on to the mighty Watford against Wolverhampton Wanderers. I'm not sure what to make of this game, really. Watford obviously started the season well, went 3-0 up against Aston Villa. Then they conceded twice, and nearly blew it, and they've subsequently lost both games. So I do think this could be a long old season for Watford. But Wolves are also really struggling under their new manager. No goals scored yet, only 3 conceded, but 3 straight 1-0 defeats. They're tough and they're competitive, but they're kind of lacking a bit of firepower, aren't they? What do you think? Do you think it's going to be an unders game, Matt?
Oh, gosh, it's so tough to call this one. I'm not sure about an unders game. I mean, things at Vicarage Road at times just go crazy. Yeah. And this one, for me, is a really difficult one. I want to be with Wolves. I want to find a way to get with Wolves because I think that they've just been so unlucky in the first month. They outplayed many teams. I mean, and many quality teams, and just had nothing to show for it. So I'm just waiting for them. I'm waiting to see the firing boots of Raul Jimenez. I mean, he's ice cold right now. Talk about just kind of coming back after that long spell with the head trauma, and now he's just out of form immediately to me. And Adama looks good. He's had many opportunities to put some away. And they're on a bit of a losing streak. They've lost 6 straight Premier League matches. So they're not someone I really want to back here. But Watford, they were thrashed just a few weeks ago against Brighton, and I can't get that one out of my head. So yeah, this one was an easy pass. This was similar to the Brentford Brighton one for me. I completely swerved it. I would maybe consider the draw here if I had to.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you there. What Wolves fans will be pleased to know that the Mexican FA have been a little bit kinder than the Brazilian FA because they've withdrawn their complaint about Raul Jimenez not being allowed to go and play in their CONCACAF games. They started Funes Mori up front, didn't they, from Monterrey instead of Jimenez, and probably maybe cost them a little bit. But he's free to start. He'll be well rested. You do feel like it is about time that they could pick up their first win of the season. Watford are a bit sloppy in defence, so I'd be leaning towards Wolves, but I agree that this is a pretty simple pass. Okay, Chelsea versus Aston Villa. Big game. Chelsea doing very well, as you would expect. Unbeaten so far. 7 points from 3 games, leaves them lingering near the top of the table. Only 1 goal conceded. I think they'll win it. There's just no value, is there? The odds are horrible. And where'd you get value in this game?
I was struggling with the same thing. I don't know where the value is. Something to me here, I mean, when you're looking at Buendia, Emi Martinez, I mean, they're not going to feature here, it sounds like, just from the South American restrictions, essentially. And Traore, Leon Bailey, they're questionable. So there's a lot of pieces for Villa that I would want to have on side to get involved in this match, because Villa have the pieces. When they're there, they can compete with Chelsea. They can make a game nice, like tough and rugged. And so for me here with Lukaku just going in for a thigh scan, it makes things really weird. I mean, I would be looking towards like player props here almost. Like if Werner gets the start over Lukaku and Lukaku just isn't even in the squad, I would consider something maybe on a Werner anytime here. Just looking at just trying to get away from the normal handicap in this one and focus on something else. And then I think that if you are to play this match, it's very easy to just go with the under 2.5 here because that's what Thomas Tuchel does. He controls matches. At least Villa still have Konsa and Mings, and their back four is intact, and they still got Luiz, in the middle there. So this was a completely easy pass for me, but there's a couple little leans there for you. I think that Tuchel under 2.5s is always a pretty good lean. So that's where I would be kind of looking.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I wonder if you can get a prop bet on. He's gone. I wonder if you can get a prop bet on Timo Werner to miss over 6.5 shots or over 8.5 shots or something like that. Timo Werner is not a little bit wayward with his finishing. Chelsea create a lot of chances and unfortunately doesn't always stick them away, but that's what Lukaku's been brought in to do. Okay, the next game we have is Leeds versus Liverpool. This is an interesting one because both teams are missing Brazilian players, and the mandate was that if you play your Brazilian players when you're not supposed to, because the Brazil FA has invoked this FIFA clause, then you forfeit the game and lose 3-0. But if both teams play their Brazilians, which is Rafinha for Leeds and Alisson for Liverpool, Fabinho, I guess, then who's going to lose 3-0? How do you do that? I don't know. Matt, you're back, which is great. You're a Liverpool fan. What's your take on this one?
It's a tricky one with the Fabinho and Alisson. And I mean, so now you're going to have Adrian in goal. I don't trust him at all.
Oh, Adrian's horrible.
I would rather see Kelleher here in this one personally over Adrian. And I mean, with no Fabinho,
I'd rather you in goal, Matt. I'd rather you were in goal than Adrian.
I would ask the most. I would need the most help from Virgil and Matip ever though. So that would not be good. My 5'10.5" frame would not be looking too good in there. But it's a really tricky one because of all this. I think that Liverpool should have the depth to get by Leeds, but I really want Fabinho there. Maybe Thiago's now going to play in the 6. And yeah, I mean, Rafinha is a big miss. At least they're missing someone too to balance this out a bit, because I think that Liverpool are definitely hit the hardest on this one when you're looking at just two extremely key starters. So yeah, with no Fabinho, it tends me to want to think that this could be a classic because he's that guy that, just stops the middle of the park. He stops the play. He's the stopgap. And I think that tends to lead itself into an overs match with him being absent. But again, I want to see, because I know that Liverpool have filed a complaint here. They're looking to try and find a way to get Fabinho and Alisson in this match. And it's all about what really happens there. And so, yeah, for me, it's a complete pass. But yeah, Fabinho isn't in. I'd be looking towards both teams to score in over 2.5. I think that would be a play of mine most likely if Fabinho and Alisson aren't in. I think that's exactly where I would be going.
Yeah, I was just looking for the odds on that, and it's -125, which looks pretty good. I would say any game in which Adrian is a both teams to score game. He's always got something stupid up his sleeve that he's going to do, isn't he? So yeah, I think that sounds good. Okay, moving on to the other team in Liverpool, the blue half of Liverpool, Everton or Merseyside. Everton versus Burnley, which is our Monday night game, I believe. Yeah, I just think this is the sort of game that Everton should be winning, really. Don't really rate Burnley that much. Everton playing at Goodison Park. I know Burnley have got a few warriors in their team, but lack of investment in the squad. And Rafa should have his troops pretty well drilled for this one, I would have thought. What's the deal? Is Richarlison? I don't think he's caught up in this whole Brazil FA thing, is he? Or is he injured?
No, he was one of them that stayed back, and luckily so, I think, for Everton here. I mean, this is one that Everton should have no problems with. I see it. These are two extremely pragmatic managers, really. I mean, when you look at just how well drilled they are, and Dyche and Benitez, this should be a rugged, old, classic English football match to me. And so I would be looking towards unders here if I had to. I think that Everton do scrape it. This feels like a 1-0, 2-0, 1-1 to Everton type of situation for me. I just don't see a ton in it. But yeah, it's another pass for me.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. And Esteban, on that note, could we please have the picks? We can even read out George's picks as well. And if you look, we found an amazing picture, an amazing screen grab of George where he's really pondering his next move there. Okay, I'll just read them out because Matt's only got one. I'm going for Arsenal to win and over 1.5 goals at odds of -125. I'm also going for Brighton draw no bet. I got -110 on that. West Ham draw no bet at -123, and a straight win for Everton at -125. I'd also throw in that Man United. Man United -1.5 looks great. Matt, I think, is the same. He's also going for West Ham draw no bet as his favourite, and also seems to like that Man United one. So there you go. George is also on the Arsenal and over 1.5 goals train. He's a Man City fan, but he thinks that Vardy is going to score against his team at +280. Good set of odds. What's this? He's going for Man United to score 2 or more goals, and both teams to receive a yellow card, at least one yellow card. And he's got about even money on that, which looks, quite good. Both teams normally get a card, don't they? And yeah, he thinks that I'm pretty sure Man United will score at least 2. He's also going for over 2.5 and both teams to score in the Leeds Liverpool game. That's the Alex Classic. So he's got -118 on that. The odds are going down. So if you think that is a good pick, get on it pretty quickly. Okay, thank you very much, Esteban, and thank you very much, Matt. It's been a real pleasure. We're just a dynamic duo for you guys. And thank you to everyone in the chat for all your tips. I hope you all have a good weekend. Hope all your bets are winners. Give us a thumbs up on your way out, please. Google algorithm loves it. And then head on over to Sportsbook Review for some more insight and to compare the odds and get the best prices. We'll be back in about 45 minutes. Me and Matt Clark, are going to be covering La Liga. So we look forward to seeing you there. And thank you very much.
Thanks, Martin. Appreciate it.